So we're out shooting some calling videos today, and I get a lot of questions online. People ask me, how do I call elk in, or what can I do to up my success? And we thought one of the best things we could do is to show you the things you shouldn't do. One of the biggest things is after a situation goes south on me, I always kind of try to, analyze the situation, what happened, and just from 25 years of calling elk, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've had a lot of elk that come in and hung up on me. And we're just going to show you a few situations that you can try not to do to up your odds. And one of the things is we've got a real nice meadow here in front of us, and it's a beautiful place, and elk would surely love that meadow. And I would love to call an elk across this meadow and watch him just come charging in. But generally, that's not what happens. In a situation like this, there is situations where they're super rutted up and a bull might just come charging across that meadow. But a lot of times the bull's gonna poke his head out on the other side of the meadow, 80, 90 yards away, look at you, and he's gonna think, no, I don't see nothing, I'm gonna turn around and leave. So if I've got an elk bugling on the other side of that meadow, and he's far enough in there that I think I can get across, I won't cross the meadow, I'll skirt around the edge and try to get on the timber on the same side of the meadow as him. It just really ups your odds, as opposed to trying to pull him across that meadow, which is super tempting. I've tried it 100 times or 1,000 times, and 5% of the time it works, and most of the time it doesn't. The bull will hang up and he'll turn around and leave. And also, in most calling situations, I almost always use a decoy, and that'll definitely help him. If an elk pops out and he sees a decoy, it gives him the thought, there's an elk down there, he might come across. But still, I just think you're better off getting on the other side, getting set up the trees, and use your decoy there, and that's just your best odds for drawing that bull into you in this certain situation. This is another really good situation. Just give you a little example. Labor Day weekend, 7 or 8 years ago, I was with my father-in-law, and he was set up ahead of me, and I was calling. I looked up on the hill, and I could see this 5-point bull just charging into us. And he kind of off the hillside disappeared into the trees, and time went by, and all of a sudden he turned around and left. And I just could not figure out why this bull had just whirled and left, because he was coming on a hot trot down to the calls. And we got up there after it was over. Like I said, I like to analyze. I walked up there in the trees, and there was 2 big, long, big fir trees that laid down. And I definitely can't think like an elk, but in my mind, I was thinking that bull was running down, and he just wasn't committed enough. He wasn't convinced enough to get himself into a situation he couldn't get out of efficiently. And so the bull's tracks come right up to those big logs. He would have to jump them, and he just turned around and left. And this is kind of a perfect example like that. You can't always see what's out in front of you when you're calling, but if you see something like this, a bull's not going to want to come charging through a bunch of deadfall. Like I said, just like the meadow, sometimes they just throw caution to the wind, they just charge in. But a lot of times, most of the time, you're just way ahead to get around major obstacles like this that they're gonna see and leave. So if I see something like this, I'll do my best to get up ahead of it. Like I said, if you can get up there without spooking the elk, I'll get past that obstacle and then start my calling sequence. All right, so this is the third scenario I want to talk to you guys about. I know it's kind of loud, we got some background noise with the creek, but that's also another tell when you're out there. And if you can, there's just this thick, like choked in creek bottom, and it's kind of the same idea as the big down log. Is that the elk's coming, and he better be real convinced if he's going to cross, a steep ravine where he's got to go down and then come back up to you. He wants to be able to make a quick escape, and you need to give him the fastest, the easiest line of path to you. And so if I'm over here calling and I hear this creek roaring, a lot of times if the bull's on the other side, I'll try to get on the other side of that creek. That way that bull doesn't have to cross these super thick, choked in bottoms, especially if they're steep. It just seems like a lot of times I've had more bulls than I can count hang out or hang up on the other side of stuff like this. So if you hear these creeks like this, just try to make it a point to get on the other side of them, and you'll have a lot better success. So obviously this is just a few scenarios, and there can be dozens and tons of scenarios that things can go wrong. But that's kind of our goal with HuntDIY, is a lot of our viewers haven't hunted elk, or they haven't come out west and hunted, and so we're just trying to give them some ideas to, you know, so they don't make the same mistakes we've made. You know, some of you guys, it's probably, yeah, I've seen it, I've done it, but it's just think about where you're set up and think about what's going to give that elk the easiest path to you. And if you do that, and if you make a conscious effort to do that, I almost guarantee you'll have more call-ins than you would otherwise, and a lot less bulls hanging up from 80 yards looking at you. So try these this fall, and hopefully it helps you out.